Black Nation podcast. Blake, I said it right. Hey, welcome back, guys. Thanks for being here. We are your hosts. I am 𝗕𝗁. That is Blake Hartsfield. And Blake, I'm in a good mood. Had a great day. A lot of stuff going on. And then I get a text. That text says, Quentin Joyner ACL out for the season. Our star transfer portal running back out of USC is now gone, and the Red Raiders will have to next man up the running back position.
Yeah, TJ, this is unfortunate news. I think everybody around Red Raider Nation was really excited about Quentin Joyner and what he was going to be for this team. I was expecting him to have a monster season and just be, running all over the Big 12. This new offense was going to suit him perfectly, right? It's more that veer and shoot, which we've talked a little bit about, where it's run, and then, vertical deep routes, right? Vertically aligned routes for the receivers where you take shots down the field. So it's obviously a big loss, but at the same time, while I'm not trying to diminish it at all, if there's a position group that you could afford to have a big injury going into the year, because injuries do happen in football, running back is probably the position you'd pick, at least on offense, right? You don't want to lose the quarterback, obviously. You don't want to lose any of the offensive line. Your receivers, I think are stars, and not to say that Quentin Joyner wasn't a star, but to me, it's more about the depth you've got behind him, that you can still be productive from the running back position. I think that both Jacoby Williams and Cameron Dickey can make plays for this offense. They're different runners, and they can bring different skill sets to the table. But it's going to hurt not having Quentin Joyner. There's no doubt about that.
Anybody that's played NCAA already knows how Quentin Joyner can move. He's shifty. He's quick. Coming out of that USC, coming out of the same high school as Taj Brooks, right?
Yep.
We were very excited. But I want to read you a quote that talks about next man up, and it's from Rivals national scout 𝗕𝗹𝗶𝗁𝘃𝗃. You familiar with him?
I've heard the name, but I don't know that I'm super familiar with his work.
He said, this obviously hurts. Joyner is an extremely talented back that had bell cow written all over him for TTU, but people are going to learn about he and Jacoby Williams. Star outliers for us.
Yeah. I mean,
so he seems to think that the Red Raiders will be okay at the running back position.
I think they will, TJ. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Quentin Joyner. I think he would have been an absolute star in this offense, but you saw flashes of both what Williams and Dickey could do last year. They both averaged over 5 a tote. Jacoby, they each had 41 carries, 236 and 225 respectively. And they can make explosive plays. So I think that, you're going to be okay at that position. Obviously, you'd love to have Quentin Joyner in the mix as well, but it is next man up, and injuries happen in football. And again, not that you want to lose a guy like Quentin Joyner, but if you were going to pick a position group on offense, if you came to me and you said, Blake, they're going to have a season-ending ACL injury for one of your starters on offense, who would you pick, or what position group would you want that to come from? It's not. This isn't a knock on Quentin Joyner. It's more the position, right? I think the offensive line makes the running back as much as the running back makes the offensive line, and I think you can get great production from those other two guys.
No doubt about it. Here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast with TJ and Blake. The injury news bit the Red Raiders today, and it's not good, but next man up. That's how we roll. That's how Red Raider Nation rolls. That's how football goes. My guy Ron Washington used to manage the Rangers, had a saying, that's the way baseball goes. Well, injuries happen in football, and that's the way football goes. Yeah. So, Blake, the Red Raiders are going into practice right now. What are you hearing coming out of camp so far? Any news that you got for me?
TJ, I think camp has gone up until the Quentin Joyner injury. Obviously, I think they've had a relatively healthy camp. A couple of small little knocks here and there, but other than Joyner, it doesn't sound like anybody has been seriously hurt. I know they had their second scrimmage over the weekend. That's their last live tackling practice they're going to have prior to the opener here in less than 2 weeks. But I mean, everything looks good. I think there's a couple of position battles people are keeping an eye on. Probably the most significant of that is the right tackle battle between Zambrano and Ponton. We'll see who wins that out. It sounds like they're comfortable with Yato's kicking inside, and yeah, I see that. That's a nice looking cup there. It sounds like they're comfortable with Yato's kicking inside to guard, and whoever comes up short on the Zambrano Ponton right tackle battle will probably be your swing tackle. But they feel good about this line, TJ, and I think that's really exciting for this offense. For if you've seen any of the social media posts from the scrimmage the other day, Barron hit Payday Douglas for a 70-yard touchdown bomb. Barron's looked great throughout camp from all accounts, and that's really encouraging. So, and the defensive line is as advertised. I think we all have some confidence this offensive line has been better or is going to be better than what we've had here previously, but. If you believe some of the reports when the ones have gone against one another, the defensive line is giving it to them a little bit. And I'm okay with that, TJ. One, it shows you that the defensive line is living up to the reputation, but the offensive line's getting some good reps in because that's going to be the best front that they play all year until unless they got into the playoff and go up against a front that's equally as good like Ohio State or Texas or somebody like that. But it's certainly the best front they're going to see in the Big 12, and I'm kind of happy the defensive line has given the offensive line the business a little bit.
That's what I'm hearing coming out of camp. Is this defensive line is as advertised? Old friend of ours and a friend of the program, Keenan. He former Red Raider said that this is going to be the best defensive line, and shout out to Keenan. He said this is going to be the best defensive line that the Red Raiders have had probably ever. And you and I love getting after the quarterback.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, TJ, they've got 4 NFL players on their starting group, right? I mean, David Bailey is going to be a first-round draft pick. 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗃𝗃 probably a second-round pick. Lee Hunter's probably a second-round pick, and Skyler Gilhauer is probably a third or a fourth-round pick. But then what people, and the starters speak for themselves, but what people don't understand is how deep this defensive line is, right? I mean, to have, a kid like Holmes coming in as your third defensive tackle who started for 𝗤𝗏 Wood at Houston last year and was a very, very productive player on that defensive line as a tackle. Your backup edges are your starting edges from last year. So you've got, a lot of experience coming off the bench in your second rotation. Like, they're going to be able to mix and match this group. Obviously, on big situations, you're going to have those big 4 out there, but they're going to be able to wear offensive lines down, right? I mean, like they can give David Bailey a first and second down off, and put one of the backups in who started last year, and so on and so forth. So I do think that they're going to dominate the Big 12 without a doubt.
That's extremely exciting for a school that is traditionally, I don't want to say ignored the defensive side of the ball, but you know what I'm getting at.
TJ, when's the last time we had I know we talked a little bit about this. I mean, I know you made the argument the defense 2 years ago
was pretty good with Tyree Wilson.
That was was it a good defense?
So here's my thing with that defense. That was obviously more of just a really good, talented Tyree Wilson that demanded double teams every single snap. And then some of the other guys got free.
Sure. They had good tackles. Not as good as the tackles we have this year. Well, so was that defense, here's my question to you. Was that defense really that good, or were they good because what you've gotten used to around here for the last 25 years is just being pathetically bad, right? So
I mean, that's what it is.
They were an average defense. The one thing I will give that defense 2 years ago is they were excellent in what I'll call fourth and one or goal to go situations, right? Like when they had to get a short yardage stop, they seem to be able to stuff the run and keep teams from getting a yard on fourth down or getting into the end zone on fourth down. But I don't think that defense was an elite defense, or they were an average defense at best. TJ, this defense is going to make that defense look like a high school defense. I mean, that's just the reality of it. That's how good I think. And the thing about this defense, TJ, is they got playmakers at every level. I mean, you got that defensive line. You've got, the Big 12 defensive preseason player of the year and Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker, who for the first time, maybe ever, that he's been at Tech, he's going to be able to, see ball, run to ball, hit ball, right? As opposed to having to fight through a guard that's getting to the second level within half a second because the defensive line doesn't take a double team or doesn't get any pressure. And then in the secondary, you've got the North Dakota State kid 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗃 coming in, and Bryce Pollock's a playmaker on the outside, big, long, physical corner out of Mississippi State. So I think this defense is going to be really good, TJ. Really, really good.
That's exciting. Let's talk about something it's not so good, and I know you want to comment on it and go ham, and that is the Big 12 voting. What was it, 15-1?
That was the
To
hashtag.
make throwing tortillas a penalty.
What do you think about it, TJ? Before I have a crack at the league office here.
We don't like to use 4-letter words on this show. However,
go ahead.
I think it's bullshit, man.
You're not wrong. I understand the spirit of the rule, right? Like the idea is to prevent water bottles and beer bottles and batteries and snowballs that you see up north at places like Cincinnati and Colorado or Iowa State. You know, I get that, right? No one wants to see a player get hurt but if you listen to 𝗕𝗹𝗰𝗀𝗃𝗁's press conference on the day that this got leaked, and he was unhappy about how it came out, right? I guess it was supposed to be released by the conference the next day, and one of the other athletic directors leaked it to some national writer, and then it came out, and then they had to kind of react to it on the fly, which I think is pretty scummy by whichever athletic director did that. I could give you a guess, but I'll let you use your imagination as to what school was probably behind this. TJ, backing up before we...
Did your wife attend said school?
No, I don't think it was TCU. In fact, I was about to give TCU some credit here, but I think it's one of the new additions, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But backing up before we get to the first off, the tortillas aren't gonna hurt anybody, right? To me, this feels a lot like it's pettiness at its finest. It's you look at year one of the new Big 12, right? And the Texas Tech brought in the most extra dollars in media revenue from success on the field between football, playing in a bowl game, how far they went in March Madness, how far they went in softball. They brought in over $15 million extra to the revenue share, right? Which is almost $1 million a school. The next highest in the league was at like $7.5 million. So they doubled the output. I've said it multiple times when this conference got put together, when Oklahoma and Texas were leaving, that Tech was going to be the new big dog. The new big dog, right? In this league, with our fan base, with our resources, with our money. And TJ, all of that's proven true 1 year into this experiment. And we go and sign the bet. Now all of a sudden we're signing all these great players, and we have arguably either. I think there's 3 schools that you can make an argument for have the best home field advantage in the conference. And it's probably BYU, Tech, and Oklahoma State. I know Oklahoma State's terrible, but when Oklahoma State's good, Stillwater's very tough to play. And it's part of our game day experience. And it just feels like pettiness. Oh, they're the richest, biggest school. They're getting all these players. We got to do something to, just to stick it to them, right? This is on the heels of the day before they tried to make one of the new member schools' athletic directors proposed a rule amendment to try to make the hand sign of the guns up for Tech and the pistols up for Oklahoma State a penalty for, quote, brandishing a weapon, which it was offensive, which, I mean...
Like the horns down? Come on.
Apparently it's brandishing a weapon, so they were going to try to make it... But it sounds like that was shot down by a voting block of the hateful eight. All eight athletics said, "Come on, absolutely not. We're not doing that." But they abandoned Tech when it came to the tortillas. It's just petty, and it's all it is. 𝗪𝗃 already said, "Throw them anyway," right? And throw them at the opening kick, throw them at halftime. You can throw them all game long, as long as they don't go on the field. Throw them up, but. TJ, it's going to be really interesting to see at the first Big 12 home game how many tortillas are flying around at that opening kickoff, because and this is a sponsorship opportunity, right? Let's get United Supermarkets to give all the tortillas in the city to the students, and let's make it a show on this first game.
Oh, I'd love that. No doubt about that. I just think that after being the talk of college football people are just getting mad. And because they're getting mad, they want to poke the bear. And 𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 was not happy.
He if you watched the press conference, you could tell he was putting on a smile because it was a public appearance, but some of his reactions to some of the questions, he said, look, our game day atmosphere and the tortilla specifically were brought up and talked about extensively. He said it felt like we were being targeted a little bit. And he was not happy. And look, you'll never know the official vote, but if there was ever a clear who was the one no vote, it was absolutely 𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. So, take into that what you will.
For sure, man. Well, look, it's the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. TJ and Blake here, as we do every year on the football preview edition. And we like to go through the schedule and pick the games. What is this team going to do? The most anticipated, I'm going to argue, season. I don't even think you can argue that this is the most anticipated Tech football season. I mean, 08 was anticipated, but with the money being spent, the added pressure.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, all the different media outlets that have covered this program, right, over the offseason, the money that was spent in the transfer portal, the recruits that they're starting to get at the high school level with the revenue sharing. I mean, this is starting to get real, Blake, and it's time to win some football games. So let's get at it. Arkansas Pine Bluff.
I mean, do we need to spend any time on this game?
Hey, did we think we needed to spend any time on what was it? Who was it? Abilene Christian?
Well, that's a good point. TJ, they're going to win this game resoundingly.
Yeah, so we're both in there. Saturday, August 30th, 6:30 kick. Red Raiders, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Our buddy Ted Emmerich is actually going to be on the call for this game. Yeah, so we get our buddy Ted to call some Texas Tech football. He's excited. I saw him a couple weeks ago at our fantasy football draft, and he's looking forward to getting back to Lubbock and doing some football. All right, Blake, do we even need to – so this is funny because this is Julian Edelman versus Danny Amendola, Super Bowl champ versus Super Bowl champ. Kent State comes to Lubbock, and I think Danny Amendola is going to have all the bragging rights in the world after this one on September 6th.
Another what should be blowout for the Red Raiders. I fully expect them to not only handle Kent State, but the backups should get a lot of run in the second half of this game. Will Hammond should play a half. We'll put it that way.
Hey, there you go. Well, the Will Hammond backup show, man. I'm excited. I hope Will Hammond gets out there and slings the ball around a little bit, man. I'm a fan of the freshman because we got the red shirt. He's still a freshman. Yep.
Redshirt freshman.
Yes, sir. So September 13th, 2:30 kick, another game in Lubbock. You got 3 games in a row to start the season in Lubbock.
Oh, we don't have a trap game up in Laramie, Wyoming this year?
No trap game in Laramie, Wyoming. No trap game in Wazoo.
Okay.
But Oregon State comes to town, Blake.
Yep. This should be a better outcome than when Oregon came to town a couple years ago. This will be the first real test for the Red. Not real test. This is the most significant test thus far. But again, this is a game that I expect the Red Raiders to win comfortably. And Will Hammond to get some time maybe not the entire second half, but he should be getting time in the fourth quarter in this game.
So the Red Raiders are now 3-0. You're starting, and here's the thing: you're starting in the polls.
Yeah.
So as you stack up these wins, you're going to continue to rise in the polls. September 20th, on the road at Utah. That is your first big test, in my opinion. That is the biggest game, probably the second most. Well, they're both on the road. Arizona State and Utah are both on the road. I think
there's one more you're not talking. I think there's one more you didn't mention there on the road at Manhattan and Kansas State.
Well, that's further on down, but
yeah. So you have them 3-0. You have them 3-0.
Specifically going to talk about Utah and Arizona State. I think you need to, at minimum, coin flip these 2 games. You cannot go 0-2.
Agreed. So you have them 3-0 going into Utah, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what do you think about the Utah game?
I think the Utah game is going to be a very tough game. We're going to find out how well this team plays on the road. Can they avoid stupid penalties on the road? Can they handle the crowd noise on the road? But that's what you have a senior quarterback for. So I'm going to say we go to Utah and win. What about you?
I agree with you. I think this is a very tough game. Um, I think that the difference in this, Utah's probably got the best offensive line in the conference. Tech is probably second or third. They're good on the defensive line. They're not as good as the Red Raiders. So let's assume that the lines kind of wash each other out in this game. That's one of the few teams in the league that I think can legitimately compete with you in the trenches. Where I think the Red Raiders have a pretty big advantage over Utah is on the outside with the skill groups, both on both sides of the ball. I think they're faster than Utah. So I think that's your difference makers. And then I trust Behren Morton as a senior quarterback. He's healthy for the first time. You know how I feel about Behren Morton in his game. But TJ, Utah's bringing in a kid, and this is going to be their first legitimate test as well. They're bringing in a kid from New Mexico who's basically a running back playing quarterback. And that's me putting it nicely. Can he play at this level? How long is it? I think he will have a good year, but how long is it going to take to him to adjust to the speed and the talent level in the Big 12 as opposed to what he faced at New Mexico in the Mountain West, right? So I think the Red Raiders win a close competitive football game in a tough place to play.
So we both have them at 4-0. And then October the 4th, travel to Houston. This is the Shield Wood revenge game as he returns to Houston.
Home game.
Oh, yeah, another home game. It's in the state, right?
Home game. It will be 50-50 at best for Houston in their stadium. TJ, I think Houston will be better than they were last year. I think Connor Weigman gives them a legitimate quarterback. I think their coach coming over from Tulsa has got a good track record of turning programs around. This is year 2 for him there. So I do think Houston will be better. I think they make a bowl game. I think they're middle of the road in the Big 12, but they just don't have the horses to hang with the Red Raiders in this game. And again, I don't think this is a road game in any sense of the word. So give me the Red Raiders to be 5-0 at this point.
Okay, so we got 5-0. We're both 5-0. We're both on the train here. 5-0 for Tech. Then the Kansas Jayhawks come to Lubbock. Blake, here's the thing. In our stadium, and if you're going to be the team that we expect to be, you have to win your home games. And this is
they can't lose in Lubbock. They are not going to lose this game. I know what's his name? Jaden Daniels is back for like his 12th season at Kansas as their quarter. What? No, it's not Jaden Daniels. That's what's the kid's name?
That's my fantasy quarterback.
That's the Washington kid. What's the kid's name? I thought it was Daniels something.
I'm going to look it up real quick. I got you.
It's that quarterback they've had there for like the last 4 or 5 years that somehow still has eligibility.
It's Jalen Daniels.
Okay, I was close. Jalen Daniels. While he's got some talent, he lost his running back. This is Kansas. I know they've been. I know they're a little better than they've been historically, but this is a game the Red Raiders are going to win at home. They're going to take care of business, especially given what you've got coming up behind it. This is a game you got to win.
So that's 6-0. So you're 6-0. You're probably in the top 15 in the country at this point.
Easily. I think you're probably 12 or 11 or 12 at this point.
So then you got to go back to Arizona State on October the 18th.
This is a big one.
It's going to be a big one. Arizona State coming off the Big 12 championship and playoff appearance. Red Raiders got to go out there to Tempe, and boy, the scenery on October the 18th will be lovely in Tempe.
Yeah, I know what you're referencing there.
That being said, and I'm talking about the mountains, Blake.
I know what mountains you're talking about.
So here's the thing. I'm going to say this is our first loss because we're not going to go undefeated.
Fair enough. I think they win this game. I think they match up well with Arizona State. Arizona State's kind of the inverse of Utah. I think Arizona State has a great quarterback that is every bit as good as Behren, maybe better. So he's getting a lot of NFL look. I think they're very good on the outside. I think they got great skill players. Where I think Arizona State is going to struggle with Tech is in the trenches. This is a game that I think is competitive. I think it's close. It's hard fought. But TJ, I think this is a game that your defensive line. I think this is the game the defensive line wins you. I think they affect Levitt enough in the backfield. They don't have 𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 anymore. Remember, the Red Raiders beat this team last year in Lubbock. So I think they match up well. So this is a game I have the Red Raiders winning. So I've still got them undefeated.
Okay, so I've got one loss. You've got them undefeated. That takes us all the way into deep October, October 25th, home game against Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy and them Cowboys.
Yep, win. I mean, Oklahoma State's terrible. Gundy is probably in his last year or two before they fire him by asking him to retire. But they're going to beat Oklahoma State.
I got them beating Oklahoma State as well. November 1st, my mom's birthday. This is going to be a big one, Blake. Shout out, moms. Happy birthday there, November 1st. We are actually going to be in more. I haven't told you this yet. My family is taking a trip. I have cousins that graduated from Virginia Tech, and we are going to go to a football game that weekend in Virginia Tech. So, and that's one of the best.
Stadium. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's one of the best atmospheres in the country.
You're there. Make sure you're there well before kickoff.
Oh, Enter Sandman, baby.
Yeah, you got to experience that. One of the best entrances in college football. But TJ, this is the game that I think the Red Raiders slip up. We never seem to beat K-State in football. We just don't. We struggle with them. We never seem to be able to get over the hump in Manhattan for one reason or another, especially. That quarterback Johnson has terrorized the Red Raiders in the past. I think that this is the game that the Red Raiders finally slip up and lose. And I have it 8-1 at this point.
Okay. So here's my kind of counter argument to that. You've already slipped up in my schedule.
Okay.
So you slipped up at Arizona State, come back, get a get-right game against Oklahoma State. I think this team's going to be focused in Manhattan. Now, the weather could play a role, as it always does up there, especially as the calendar turns to November. If it's not freezing, which we don't know what the weather's going to be like on November 1st. If it's not like snow on the ground, negative 20 degrees, I think Tech wins this game.
Okay, fair enough.
So we both have them at the same record with one loss going into a home game November 8th against the BYU Cougars.
Yep. TJ, it's the game I think they could have lost before BYU decided to kick the quarterback out of school for some sexual assault allegation. Now they've got a kid that was their backup playing as their starting quarterback. I think it basically ended BYU's season before it began. This is a win.
I agree. I think, once again, Tech wins their home games. Best atmosphere, one of the best atmospheres in the Big 12. And what do you, real quick, I think the Jones was always a great place to play. But I think with the new lights and kind of the momentum that we've had in basketball with the swag surf and all that kind of carrying over to the Jones, I think it's just made the Jones just even more of a tough place to play.
TJ, it's always been a tough place to play. I mean, go back to the Leach era. OU and Texas
absolutely.
for about an 8-year period, we always beat one of OU or Texas in Lubbock. A&M never could win here, right? And not only could A&M not win here, A&M would come in and we'd beat their asses 54-10 in the Leach era, right? So I think the Jones is very tough. I said it earlier. I think it's one of the three toughest places to play in the conference, along with BYU and Stillwater. So
then November 15th, another game in Lubbock, UCF, Blake.
Win. UCF's they're probably a bottom 5 team in the league this year.
I got us winning that one as well. And that brings us to November 29th, West Virginia, another tough road game for the Red Raiders to finish up the regular season. This could be win, and you're in the Big 12 championship game, Blake.
That's why I think they're going to win it, TJ. One, they're going to be they're going to have a lot to play for if this schedule falls the way that we're thinking it's going to fall. Two, West Virginia's not very good. I mean, this is Rich Rodriguez's first year back there. It's going to take him some time to get it going. Morgantown can be a tough place to play, but if they're coming into the game at 3-7 or 4-6, how much do they even get a crowd presence there by that point in the year?
The Fighting Pat McAfee's.
Yeah, no, give us to handle West Virginia.
Okay, so we both have it. We both have us losing different games, but do we have us going 11-1?
I do, TJ. To me, I think the season comes down to 3 games. I think it comes down to the games at Utah, at Arizona State, and at Kansas State. And we each have us going 2-1 in those games. You could very easily go 1-2. You cannot go 0-3. If you go 3-0, great. But I think 3-0 is pretty wishful thinking with those 3 games. So I'm not going to pick it, but I think they can easily go 2-1. But I think even at 10-2, if they were to go 1-2, I think 10-2 could get you into the playoffs. So it just depends on which game you win and who beats who. Into the Big 12 championship game. So
yeah, and last year it was such a everybody beating up on everybody kind of situation there, where if this Tech could have a 2-game lead clear going into that
TJ, game. They could, but TJ, last year here's why I have confidence. Tech was a collapse at TCU away from being in the Big 12 championship game last year. Like, a lot of people don't realize that because of where we finished in the standings because of the tiebreakers. But TJ, if they don't blow the game at TCU, they finish in a 4-way tie for first, and they're in the game on the tiebreakers on the fact that they beat Iowa State on the road. So, they were a collapse at TCU away last year. I think that they're better this year. I think they have more expectation this year. I think 11-1 is what I'm picking. 10-2 wouldn't shock me. I think if they do anything less than 10-2, we're having a different conversation at the end of the year.
Speaking of that conversation here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast, I'm getting good at that, Blake. Hey, Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. I've been practicing. Hey, let's talk about the pressure on this team. Because we just went through and simulated like an NCAA season and said, win, loss, win, 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 win. But Blake, there is a lot of pressure on these players. There's a lot of pressure on these coaches. And let's say you mess up and drop a game you're not supposed to drop, right? On top of the games that are tough. Let's say you go 1-2 in that tough 3-game stretch that we're talking about, and then you screw up and lose another one. So if this team goes 9-3, I'm very concerned because we love Joey McGuire, and I'm not calling for Joey McGuire's job. I love Joey McGuire. Coach McGuire, we love you. We're just talking about the pressure here. And I think if you were to watch our podcast, you know the pressure's on.
TJ, Cody has opened up the checkbook, both with bringing in players in this transfer portal, this high school recruiting that they're doing, and with the $250 million practice facility and end zone renovation that's state of the art and the best in the country that everybody's talked about. So,
how about the check to keep James Blanchard around?
Yeah, he has opened up. He's gotten him elite. He outbid, as the Houston coach put it last year when we hired Shael Wood. They tried to keep him. He said at some point we have a thing called a budget. This is a direct quote from their coach. He goes, at some point there's a thing called a budget, and they seem to have more resources than us in that department right now. So we lockered Houston for their coach, right? We went and got the hot offensive coordinator, Mac Leftwich, who Houston wanted, TCU wanted, Baylor wanted. We got him. So Cody has done his part. He has opened up the checkbook. He has got the talent. He has done the high school recruiting. He has backed Joey McGuire's culture. Joey has to deliver. I don't think Cody is going to stop. After the investments that he's made, I don't think that the money is going to stop for this program. I think he's going to continue to invest, and he is determined to get this to be a top 15 program nationally and more or less buy their way into the SEC when the next round of realignment comes, where you become so attractive as a program that they have to take you. And you get into the breakaway. That is the goal here. He is not going to continue to spend this kind of money and get mediocre results because of coaching. And I think that if they go 9-3, it's going to depend on, I think there's going to be conversations about McGuire. I love Joey. I want him to be the coach. I think he's the right guy for Tech. But If you go 9-3, there's going to be conversations. I think kind of some of it comes down to why did you go 9-3, right? Like if you go 9-3 because
I don't think why is the right word. How do you go 9-3?
That's a good point too. Is it because you lost a game because you got out coached or made a dumb fourth down decision, or you instead of handing the ball to Taj Brooks, you call a freshman quarterback draw that he fumbled, like things, the TCU game, right? Like if you have that kind of a game where you're up big, you blow the game, and it's coupled with you make a call like that, I think, and that's the reason you go 9-3 is gone. If you go 9-3 because Baron Morton hurts his shoulder and misses 2 weeks, and you go 1-1 with Will Hammond, I think that's a different conversation. I think anything less than 9-3, if he goes 8-4, TJ's gone. Because I think what Cody's going to do is he's going to, whether or not USC fires Lincoln Riley or not, he's going to call Lincoln Riley and say, "Give me a number. Come home, dominate this league like you have in the past." If not Lincoln Riley, right? And if he doesn't think Lincoln Riley's the right guy, TJ, he's going to poach a coach from a big program, right? Like, and this is an attractive job now. You've got that money to get the players you want. You're in the state of Texas. You've got this facility. You've got the money backing. Like, I'm going to throw a couple of names out, and you tell me if I'm completely crazy, right? Lincoln Riley, even if USC wants to keep him.
I do think Lincoln Riley's in play. Dan
Lanning up at Oregon. Now, I know Oregon's got a similar setup. They've got all kinds of money to buy players. They've got great facilities, but TJ, he's from the South. He's not from the Northwest. Okay. So does he pick up the phone call? Can he out money whip Oregon? I think he could. I think that's a name that's in play, TJ. This is the name everybody's going to call me crazy for saying, and you're probably going to call me crazy for saying, but Cody Campbell's on a commission that was set up by Mr. Trump on college athletics. He serves on that. He serves on that committee with one Nick Saban, who just last week on Fox News was doing an interview and said that the right opportunity out there is not available at the moment for me to return to the sideline, but I am now open to it. He wants back on a sideline, TJ. I'm just saying there's a relationship.
Okay.
Saban retired. If you believe the rumors as to why Saban stepped away, it wasn't because he was tired of coaching. It was because he was tired of having to re-recruit his own team every year with NIL. TJ, you come to Texas Tech, you don't have that problem. I know Alabama's got resources, but they don't got Texas Tech money right now. So I'm just saying, is there a number that Nick Saban thinks about it?
I agree that whether it's Nick Saban, Lincoln Riley or not, it's going to be a big name.
Yes.
It's going to be a big name.
Yes.
Somebody that the likes of this school has never had a shot at.
And I'm going to say this about the Saban thing. I'm going to plant this last seed about it. If it's Nick Saban, right, the timeline fits, because the next round of realignment is coming in 2029, 2030, right? So you're looking at 4 to 5 seasons where you need to be elite to make yourself attractive. Saban's 73. I'm just saying that the timeline lines up. If he were to want to back on a sideline, try to make one more run at something, right? And let's be honest, CJ, if Nick Saban's the coach here, they're going to run the Big 12. Like, they are going to run the Big 12 and get in the playoff and be competitive. So you think, I know everybody's going to call me crazy. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, that's insane. It's never going to." Just saying, don't put that and file it back in the nugget. If he goes 8-4, file that one away, because I think it's more realistic than a lot of people realize.
Man, what a bomb from my guy Blake Hartsfield here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. I'm with you. It's good if our friend Joey doesn't get it done this season, it could be Lincoln Riley. Could it be Nick Saban? I guess we'll find out. I think we both want Joey McGuire to have a successful year and be the guy here for a long time.
How about this one, TJ? This is kind of dreaming really, really big, but Lincoln Riley gets fired from USC. Joey goes 8-4. He hires Nick Saban, and Lincoln Riley comes to be your offensive coordinator and coach in waiting for when Saban steps away. Just saying, don't call it impossible. Don't call it. I mean, it could. There are timelines where this is possible, TJ.
I understand that, man. So we both have the Red Raiders. We're both drinking the Kool-Aid, Blake. again.
The Kool-Aid is strong this year, TJ.
Hey, I think it's Big 12 championship or bust.
Yep.
Big 12 championship game or bust.
Yep.
I think you could lose it and be okay. I think this team has to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Joey's job depends on making the playoffs. Again, I think 9-3, depending on how it is, I think there's conversations being had. I think 8-4 for whatever reason he's gone. I think 10-2, and it's his job for the foreseeable future.
For sure.
And McGuire's talked about that pressure. He said, I welcome the pressure. I'd rather have that pressure because that means I've got a great team and a lot of talent, and I think he welcomes it. So we'll see. Let's go play.
We should see, and we will be there. TJ and Blake here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. Remember, Scarlet and Black Nation Insider. Go check out our guys, Jacob, RC, and Austin. All those guys doing a good job over there. But stay tuned. I'm hearing a few things about the Scarlet and Black Nation. That's a tease for next time. So, Blake, how do we always get out of here, bud?
Wreck 'em.
Wreck 'em. We will talk to you guys next time. We want to do one before the kickoff.
I think we'll wait until after the first game.
All right. So after the first game, we will be right here with all the reaction of Arkansas Pine Bluff and our guy Ted Emmerich on the call against our Red Raiders. It's football season, everybody. We'll see you next time.